I'm off to the Gwyn Hall to film the Jack and the Beanstalk panto. It's been put together by Neath Musical Theatre Company. The reason I'm hesitating about the name is because it used to be called Neath Amateur Operatic Society, but it's changed now. The director is somebody I know very well, Kate Walsh. She runs KAPA, the theatre company, and a lot of the KAPA pupils are going to be in this panto as well. Interestingly enough, about 2 weeks ago, I filmed Jack and the Beanstalk in Carmarthen, the Lyric Theatre, and I thought it was going to be a normal behind the scene video when I made the video, but as it turned out, the theatre is very much haunted, and I captured paranormal events on camera. Basically what happened was, normally I use, in that theatre for that show, I use 12 cameras. Normally I use about 15 to 20 cameras, but it was a small cast, so I only used 12 cameras. And 3 of the cameras started playing up. So one camera, when I got home, I noticed had a shimmer on it throughout. And I thought, okay, this is probably to do with the camera malfunctioning or lens malfunctioning, or maybe I even forgot to switch the image stabilization off on the lens. No. And I tried to mimic the shimmer again when I got home and try and recreate it. Couldn't. Camera was perfect. Another camera, which was quite interestingly enough, stopped recording, and that was the camera that was next to me. I had 2 cameras, one was on tripod and one was clamped next to me. The one that was clamped next to me switched itself off randomly, and it also stopped recording before it switched itself off, which is impossible, because these cameras, if the battery fails or if there's a power outage of any kind, then you lose the footage. You will literally lose everything up to that point. And the only way you could get it back is if you have specialized software to retrieve it. So to this day I have no idea how a camera could stop recording and switch itself off. So anyway, I switched it back on literally 2 minutes after I switched that camera on. The camera that was nearest to the stage just moved by itself, and I don't mean like it literally just turned. It didn't fall over, it didn't fall to the side, it just turned on the stand, which is again impossible. And luckily I managed to capture the movement on video from another camera. So it was really spooky. At the end of the night, I remember I noticed the camera wasn't facing the right way. I remember saying to one of the tech guys, I think some children must have been playing with the camera because it's not facing the right way. I thought when I get home I'll have a look at the footage of the camera that was facing that camera that got moved. And I was genuinely expecting to see some child going up to the camera and physically moving it. No, it was something a lot more spooky than that. You literally see the camera by itself just move. So yeah, that was Jack and the Beanstalk in Carmarthen Lyric. So I just hope to God this time we don't get any spooky events happening. But no, what's happening today is I'm going in. It's 8:30. The dash cam says probably it's 9:30, but it's set to the summer time. So I just haven't been bothered to change the time on it. But it's 8:30 on a Saturday, and I'm going early because there are two shows. There's one matinee, and then it's a normal panto, and this evening is the adult panto. Now, for those of you who don't know, the adult panto is for over 18s only, and I must say, I mean, I've filmed adult pantos for Gwyn Hall before. I don't get the jokes because they are, how can I say this? Some of them can be rude, but that's why it's funny. I don't get some of the jokes, but the audience. And I tried to book tickets for last night to take my niece, because she's come over from Australia, to take my niece to see it, and it's completely sold out, both nights, last night and tonight. So it's really popular, really busy. The audience, I mean the reaction, they are in stitches. Think of a stand-up comic, but in a panto format, you know, they're really funny, really funny. But as I say, some of the jokes, I'm not gonna lie, I don't understand. But the audience's reaction is hilarious, because I know it must be funny because they're in stitches. So yeah, I just realized something. I better go to Screwfix and buy some tape, electric tape. Problem is, I always put tape on their batteries when I sort of tape it to bars and camera batteries, and I keep losing these tapes. They're not that expensive. I mean, it's only like £1 or something, maybe even cheaper, but because they're black, I'll leave them lying about, and afterwards I can't find them. And part of the problem is because the theatre uses electric tapes as well, so I'm sure the tech guys will come across these tapes that I leave lying about, and they think, oh, it's ours, and they take it away to put it away somewhere safe, not realizing it's actually my tape. I need them. I can't clamp cameras without them. So yeah, I'm just gonna pull in here and go and buy a tape, and I'll be back in a second. So I just popped in to buy electrical tape to fix the batteries to bars and wherever I need to fix them. The reason I need tape rather than clamps is because I never know what I'm fixing the batteries to. It could be a bar, of any size, or it could be just fixing it to a wall, side of a wall. So these electrical tapes are perfect for what I want. But I normally use black ones because I like to blend in with the surrounding of the theatre. They didn't have any black tapes, electrical tapes at all, of any kind, any price. So after we looked for ages, ended up buying red ones because that's the only color they had, and they were £2 each. It's like, wow, it's got so expensive. I think what I've got to do is buy loads of them from Amazon, really cheap ones from Amazon. But at least I've got enough now to last me for probably a good year, I think, because I bought 2. As I was saying, I'm off to the Gwyn Hall to film the adult panto this evening. But I've got to go early because there's a matinee, and I'm gonna try and do behind the scene. The matinee one is the children's panto, so hopefully I get a chance to use my anamorphic lenses and film some behind the scene. Because tomorrow I'm filming 2 shows tomorrow again in Gwyn Hall, same panto, but they're children, both of them, but they're different casts. So all in all, I'm filming 3 shows, 1 tonight and 2 tomorrow. But for tonight's show, what I always say to the theatre is, for the adult panto, it always scares me using a lot of cameras that are not immediately next to me, because if anyone gets carried away and starts, you know, playing with the cameras or damaging the cameras, then I'll be very worried and very upset. So for the adult ones, I tend to just use 2 or 3, which is quite funny. When I say I just use 2 or 3, I know 99% of videographers only use 2 or 3 cameras anyway, and for me that's unheard of. The only time I use 2 or 3 cameras is if I'm worried about my cameras getting damaged. Thing is, the way I film, I want to make the video as close to a movie as possible, and not like the old style of filming theatre shows, which was one guy with 1 camera right in the back of the theatre shooting down, and then zooming in, zooming out, panning across, missing half the stuff. I can't handle that. To me, it needs to look like a movie. This is why people literally book me 2-3 years in advance. As soon as usually they book the theatre, they book me. And sometimes there've been a few cases where they try to book me and I can't do it, so they actually move the show date so they can make sure they get me, which is quite flattering, but puts a lot of pressure on me. This is also why I feel obliged to give 100%, because when I've got such a loyal client base where they're willing to move a show for me just so they can get me filming their show, then the least I could do is to give them 100%. Basically 99% of all the shows are filmed by me around Swansea area. I used to all along M4 corridor, but I stopped because it's just not viable now. For me to go and film a show in London, I have to charge so much money because cost of traveling is ridiculous now, and it's just not viable because they can get somebody, okay, I pretty much guarantee it won't be as good as me, but they will be able to get somebody local who can do it for a fraction of the price, and ultimately you could be amazing, but if your price isn't right for them, then they'd rather settle for somebody else. In front of us, it's Swansea University's new campus, and those blocks of you see are the halls of residence. It literally is like a city in there. Anybody can drive in. I mean, it's open, and they've got Tesco, they've got cafes, they've got restaurants. I don't know if they've got cinema in there or not, but yeah. I've actually worked in there. That's how I know Swansea University, well, this campus quite well. There's I think it's called the Great Hall, and Oakley House, which is one of my clients, is a school. They used to have their concerts once a year in there. It was spectacular. It's a huge hall. And the talent in Oakley, even though they're really young children, there was one little boy who played the piano one year, and oh my god, wow, he literally was a professional concert level piano player. He's that good. I've come to the conclusion there's no point putting GoPros on the outside in winter, because I tried it when I was going to Carmarthen. I was telling you about the Lyric Theatre, and it was raining heavily. I taped it up because the GoPros have to run from USB power rather than their own battery power. So those of you familiar with GoPros, you know that the USB cable that goes into the side of GoPro is not waterproof, and when it's raining heavily, obviously water can get into it. So I use electrical tape all over it to make sure it's clean, and it's not clean, but it's watertight. Which it was, and I thought, great, when I get home I'll have a look at the footage. What I didn't count on is when the weather's bad and it's raining and you're driving, the water sticks to the front of the lens. For whatever reason it won't clear, and the water droplets just stay there, and I couldn't see anything, so I ended up using the dash cam. Since then, I'm just gonna during winter time, I'm just gonna use the dash cam instead of the GoPro on the outside of the car. I suppose I could use Rain-X or these sprays that, the minute water, and I've seen adverts, you put on the car windscreen and you don't even need to use a wiper. The water just flies off the windscreen, won't stick. Maybe I could try that, but I'm worried it'll damage it, it'll smear the front of the lens. And those of you who got GoPro 8, you'll know the front lens is not replaceable, and it's not like other GoPros where you can just twist it, take it off and replace it yourself. which is a bit of a pain. I went to get my car washed yesterday, and I felt so bad because the poor guy, his hands, I mean, it's midwinter, it's January, it's midwinter, it's really cold, and his hands, because he had to keep sticking his hands in freezing water, his hands were red, it was so cold. I felt so bad. If I don't go because I feel bad for them, then they won't make any money. If I do go, then effectively I feel like I'm actually they're freezing because of me. So I don't know, it's a really difficult decision. I always give them twice double what it's worth. So if it's £5, I give them £10, or with the Land Rover, if it's £10, I give them £20, just to make up for the fact that they're freezing, and I show my appreciation that they're out in the cold doing what they're doing, and they're really grateful for it. But it always makes me feel really bad that when I see somebody suffering because of me. That's a difficult one to solve. I don't know. It's one of those scenarios where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you don't go, they won't make any money. If you do go, that poor guy freezes and he has to be there because I'm going down to get my car washed. Right next to the Gwyn Hall is Marks and Spencer's, Poundland, and Greggs. I always go to Marks because it's right next to the Gwyn. It's the closest to the Gwyn. It's literally next door to Gwyn Hall. They're expensive, but the food is good. It's okay. It's definitely better sandwiches from Poundland. Poundland, again, very cheap, but sandwich is not that good, but what do you expect? So, first time ever, last time I was working the Gwyn, I went to the Greggs. I've never been to the Greggs. Oh my god, the difference, the quality. I thought Marks and Spencer's were supposed to be the best for food quality. Oh no, Greggs sandwiches are so fresh. The quality is fantastic. So I'm going to try again today. I do feel bad when I have to go in early to Gwyn, or any theatre for that matter, because I always have to ask the guys to come in early, and you know, just because they've got a lot to do before they open up, before they let the general public in. The last thing they want or they need is me being there and saying, "Can you open the theatre, please? I'm outside." I always feel really bad. As I was saying earlier about the paranormal activity with the Lyric Theatre, I was speaking with the management, and they were saying whether they should do a ghost hunt evening. They should put on a ghost hunt event one night, and they get some front of house staff to come in overnight, stay there, and basically they see whether they can spot anything. And loads of people, when I put a status up on Facebook about what took place and put the footage up, loads of people were saying the theatre needs to do a ghost hunt event, like evening, because apparently that sort of thing is really popular now. I don't know if I'll have the, because they sort of said whether I could go down with EVP, which is these recorders that pick up ghosts. I don't know what EVP stands for, but anyway, you can pick up ghosts talking. Night vision camera is no problem, because I've got so many cameras that also double as night vision cameras as well, so that's no problem. But yeah, I don't know, I'll be really scared, only because what if these ghosts latch on to us and come and I bring it back home with me, and then it'd be a nightmare trying to get rid of it. So I don't think I'll be doing that one. Yeah, I might lend them the equipment and show them how to use it, but I think I'll be hesitant to go down and do it myself. I'll be too scared. I do like horror movies, but not horror movies. Like, I like paranormal movies, but not gory movies, if you see what I mean. Especially not movies where you see people like commit acts of violence, extreme violence. I hate that. But I do like horror movies that are paranormal. Sometimes I think